In this tutorial, I just want to briefly show you how to use a layer mask. So a layer mask is one way for us to basically select a portion of the image and only show a portion of an image. There are other ways to use it as well, but what I'm going to do first is I'm basically going to just select this dog, and I want to get rid of this background here. So I'm going to use the quick selection tool because that's going to be the easiest for me, and I'm just going to sort of click and drag down and make this quick selection here. I'm going to get rid of a little bit there. Okay, so now I'm left with basically just the dog. Now I can do some things to it to make sure that I get the little pieces of the dog here with the hair and things like that, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. And I want to point your attention to in the layers palette, and again I've pulled mine out, but in the layers palette there's a little button that is a square with a circle in it. This is called a layer mask. And the layer mask is really, really neat because it allows us to non-destructively sort of delete parts of the image. We're not really deleting it, but I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to click on this button and notice how it basically got rid of the background except for the dog. And again, if I zoom into this layer here, you'll notice that it added this little box next to it, and everywhere there is black, I'm basically seeing through the image, and anywhere there's white, I can still see the dog. Now again, if we were to look at this closely, this isn't a very good selection. That's not the purpose of this particular video. But so this allows me now, I can even reposition and sort of do whatever I want with this little piece here. And now I want to show you what we can do with this layer mask. So now that I've basically made it so that I can see through to the background, let's say I decided I didn't like what I saw here. And this is where the layer mask gets really cool. Let's say I messed up. I'm going to come over to my brush tool. Okay, just the regular brush tool. The shortcut key is B. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. There's a couple ways I can do this, but just so you know, this is where it's at, the size. Or I'm going to use the bracket keys on my keyboard. Right bracket will make it bigger, left bracket smaller. And then what's really important is the black and white over here. If you do not see black and white, then what you should do is click on this little button right here, which will default the colors to black and white. And then this button will switch them. Now there's also a shortcut key for these. D will default to the white on black. So white is the foreground color, black is the background. And X will switch between those colors. This is really important because, again, notice over here, white, I can see the dog, black, I can't. So if I start painting black on top of the dog, notice the dog becomes see-through. So I can start to take off portions of an image. Well, let's say I want to add those back in. I accidentally cut off part of his ear. Well, I just switch those colors back. Again, I'm back to white, and I can just paint it back in. Okay. So that's how the layer mask works. And this also works when you're using an adjustment layer, which I'll cover in a different video. And of course, we can do a few things to make sure that this doesn't look quite like it does. Like this looks very, has a really hard edge. If I come in here and actually bring the hardness all the way down, I can then, let me switch those colors back and make it blend a little bit better into the background because it sort of feathers the edge or makes it a little bit see-through, kind of a gradient feel to it. So anyways, I'm not going to spend all the time on this, but that's how a layer mask works. Again, usually you'll make a selection first, and then you will hit the layer mask button. You also, though, could just hit the layer mask button with nothing selected and then just paint out what you don't want to keep. Again, using the brush tool and painting black what you don't want to keep, white what you do want to keep. So again, if I make a mistake, I can just switch the colors and come back, and that's how the layer mask works.